You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
Hey, it's Ian Ballinger from the Freestater here on the Lanterns Radio Network. Now, most people listen to the show when it goes up every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, or even on your iPhone podcast app. But you can also listen to the show over at lanterns.buzz. That's lanterns.buzz, where the show plays on replay every weekday and weekend at 11 a.m. Central Time. Every day throughout the week, you can listen to the replay of the show on the lanterns.buzz radio stream. Aha! 11 a.m. Central Time and 3 a.m. in the morning. Just fantastic times. If you're driving out late, you can listen to the show. And if you're waking up in the morning, driving to work, going to lunch during work, whatever, show's available for you to listen to right there on replay. That's lanterns.buzz. And while you're over there, I encourage you to check out some of the other great shows that the Lanterns Radio Network has to offer. You've got Bells of Liberty, Todd Huff Radio, Battle for Freedom, Patriot Politics, Defenders of American Exceptionalism, The HollowNet, Fires of Liberty, Battlefield Live, The Conservative Syndicate, and many other special programs. You may have heard back during CPAC even, they did a huge live stream, continuous coverage of CPAC. Go to lanterns.buzz for great content. We're here to fix the machine. Lanterns.buzz. It is the Friday before the 4th of July. The time when Americans all around come together to celebrate our independence. The past few Independence Days, I've done a lot of self-reflection. I've done a lot of analyzation of the direction our political movements in this country are going. And on this Independence Day, I continue that trend. I don't really care about the hot dogs and the burgers on the grill. I mean, I do. Everyone cares about grilling out. Apple pie. Freedom. America. USA, baby. USA. That's fun to get caught up in. Especially this year, we have a Republican president. Everything must be just hunky-dory. But it's not. And the media would have you believe that the reason it's not is because we have a president who is racist, misogynistic, Islamophobic, anti-Muslim, when in reality, we kind of did this to ourselves, gang. I mean, let's be honest. No, there weren't conservatives out bashing people's heads in with U-bars, throwing little explosives, throwing bricks, macing people, pepper spraying people at protests, free speech rallies. You get the idea. That didn't happen in large part on the right. In fact, a lot of people on the right, for a time, were pushing things like the Tea Party movement. Glenn Beck pushed restoring love, restoring honor, and restoring courage. We were talking about unity on the right. different commentators. I even remember the Fox News panelists talking about it. It was a different time several years ago. But then the 2016 election rolled around. And then it ended. And Donald Trump was president. Is president. But we haven't exited that election mentality. We're still in that mentality of, it's us against them. Get him! Get him! Make him pay! You didn't stand for Trump? Globalist? Cuck? Man-child? Oh, the right has been just as unprincipled, just as venom-filled as they accuse the left of being. In principle, a lot of people on the right are acting like snowflakes now. Rushing the stage. We talked about it last week and the week before even. Rushing the stage at the Julius Caesar play in New York. Claiming that they're advocating for political violence against the right. And while doing that, shutting down their free speech. Is the right really principled? Do principles really matter to the right? We asked that question last week. That question still remains unanswered. Do principles really matter to the right? I'm going to ask an even scarier question. Do principles really matter to Americans? Or are we just us versus them still? Do we still believe that there are absolute truths, or do we believe that the truth is subjective? There's a different truth for everyone in every different experience. That's what they tell us on college campuses. Then they tell us that you can be 93 different genders or an entirely made-up gender. That you can change from man to woman or woman to man. That children should be injected with hormones and puberty blockers because they tell their mom or dad that they want to play with dolls, or that they feel deep down like a girl. We've taken this country for granted. We've taken our freedoms for granted. And I'm no better. Just 2 weeks ago, I even admitted to it. I've taken my citizenship in this country for granted. I don't appreciate the freedoms, the God-given rights, and the Constitution that this country has. I've come to that realization, surprisingly, really recently. Not that we have these freedoms, but that I've not appreciated them. And even more so today, when the Daily Wire published the most Orwellian article I think I've read in a very long time. In fact, the second word is Orwellian in the article. I'm going to butcher this author's name because I cannot pronounce that last name at all, but we'll give it a shot. Amanda Prestigiacomo. Prestigiacomo. A writer over at the Daily Wire. Parents of United Kingdom baby barred from potential life-saving treatment in the United States prepare for their son's mandated death. You won't see the media reporting much on this at all. I don't think I've seen it. Certainly not on mainstream media. And then another article published just hours later, and we'll get to it in a minute. The Vatican's statement on it will actually shock you. We'll get to that article next after this one, just to give you a setup as to what is happening here. UK court rulings rule that 10-month-old baby Charlie Gard was set to have his life support removed on Friday, but due to a heartbreaking plea from the sick boy's parents, they will now have more time, an undisclosed amount, to say goodbye to their child before his government-mandated death sentence. 10 months old. 10 months old. And the government has already decided he needs to die. He doesn't have a right to fight for his life. You don't have a right to fight for his life, parents. I encourage you. Share this link over on my Twitter. I plead with you. Share this article with everyone you know. DailyWire.com. Share this article with everyone you know. If the media won't talk about it, we will. This is an outrage. This is an outrage. I couldn't form words to figure out how to talk about this. Charlie, the 10-month-old baby in question, suffers from a mitochondrial disease. And this disease, it destroys the muscles and the brain. There were no available treatments in the United Kingdom. So Chris and Connie, Charlie's parents, together raised $1.6 million to try to fly him to the United States, where an experimental treatment was available. But there shouldn't be a but there. In any civilized, in any society that has its head on straight, there should not be a but there. It should be, let's get this kid to the United States. They raised the money, let's get him there, let's get him this treatment. Oh no, but we live in a society, a culture, where even here in the United States, where there's freedoms abound, we won't question an overseas court ruling against that. The hospital argued that the treatment wouldn't help Charlie and would prolong his suffering, and that they knew better than the parents, who had to suffer through his illness and care for him every single day. Thus, the hospital argued, it would be in Charlie's best interest to die. Continuing in the article, the European Court on Human Rights sided with the hospital and determined Charlie's parents were barred from bringing their ill baby to the United States for a potentially life-saving treatment. The hospital would instead, and let's just get this hospital's name out there, the Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children. They decided they would instead kill Charlie by withdrawing all life support. The court ruled that Charlie has to, quote, die with dignity. I ask anybody that defends the court's ruling, why do we have the right to die, but we don't have the right to live in 21st century society? What happened to our hearts? Have we become so desensitized to the culture of violence that exists in today's world that it doesn't shake us to our core that men in robes and the court decided that this 10-month-old baby had a right to die but didn't have a right to fight for his life, or for his parents to fight for his life? On Thursday, Guard and Yates accused their son's doctors of rushing them and preventing all their family from saying goodbye. Again, are we so desensitized to the horrors and terrors of this world that it doesn't shake us to our core that parents were barred from allowing their family members from saying goodbye to a dying 10-month-old baby? Is that the world we live in? Because if so, hey, it's really not hard to follow the whole Romans 12:2, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. End quote. Oh, let's be very clear, it is not hard at all to be non-conforming to this evil, sickening world. When the government steps in, when men in robes, we'll get to the men in robes thing, when the court steps in and says, no, your son has to die. Not only were the parents, continuing in the article, not only were the parents denied the right to continue to fight for their son's life, but the hospital won't allow them to take the boy home or even to hospice. They said that he has to die in that hospital. That's an outrage. That's an outrage. We're protesting on college campuses about not having enough birth control. Where's the protest for this kid? For this family? They posted on Facebook, we're utterly heartbroken. We're spending our last precious hours with our baby boy. We're not allowed to choose. This is what they put on their Facebook page. We're not allowed to choose if our son lives, and we're not allowed to choose when or where Charlie, our son, dies. We, and most importantly, Charlie, have been massively let down throughout this entire process. Charlie will die tomorrow knowing that he was loved by thousands. Thank you to everyone for your support. The C team, Connie, Chris, and Charlie. After Charlie's parents' initial request to have more time with their child was rejected, they were finally told that the hospital had agreed to give them a bit more time with Charlie. That amount of time has not been disclosed, despite the parents' claim in their video that Charlie is still fighting and stable, unquote. But even though he's still fighting and, quote, stable, the hospital still won't let them. Gosh, it's outrageous. It should shake every human being with the heart to their core. Should shake every freedom lover to his or her core. Within the pleading video, which we'll play for you in a minute, which was posted before the hospital agreed to give the parents more time with their baby before his death, the two parents, amid tears, thanked the public for their support and blasted the heartless doctor, denying their simple request. I blast him too. I blast anyone defending that. It's sickening. We promised our little boy every single day, they said, that we would take him home. We want to give him a bath at home, put him in a cot, which he never got to sleep in, but we're now being denied that. We know that our son is going to die, but don't get a say in how that will happen, said Guard. Charlie will die tomorrow knowing he was loved by thousands. That's what they said in the Facebook post. A friend of the family told Daily Mail that the parents' plea video might have changed the hospital's mind. After everything the family has been through, they at least deserve more time, right? And that's what they said there. After everything the family's been through, they deserve this. To be able to prepare properly to let Charlie go has already given the parents much comfort. It's not right. It's not right. And we live in a not-right world. Guard and Yates, who are in their 30s, launched a fundraising appeal to help pay for the doctor's bills in the United States. It reached 1.2 million euros before the initial high court trial and has now topped 1.3 million euros, attracting more than 83,000 donations, said The Guardian. The parents say the money will go to a charity which supports Charlie's disease since he never got his chance. And he never got his chance because totalitarians decided he didn't get a chance. Here's the video from Charlie's parents.
We should be over the road, sitting next to our son Charlie Guard's bed, spending the last few precious hours with him. We just thought we would take 5 minutes out to come and tell you where we are. As I'm sure you're all aware, the European Courts of Human Rights refused to hear our appeal and said it is lawful that Great Ormond Street can remove his ventilation and that he should receive palliative care only, and basically that Charlie has to die.
We've been talking with Great Ormond Street since November last year, when they first started talking about court, about what palliative care meant, and we had 3 options. One option was to let Charlie go in hospital, was to let Charlie go to a hospice, and the third option was to let Charlie go home to die. So we chose to take Charlie home to die, and we have said this for months, that is what we want. That is our last wish if it went this way, the way it's gone. And we've promised our little boy every single day that we will take him home, because that is a promise we thought we could keep.
We want to give him a bar at home. We want to sit on the sofa with him. We want to sleep in the bed with him. We want to put him in a cot he's never slept in. But we're now being denied that. We had a meeting yesterday where we were told we were going to discuss our options, and we said we'd like to take him home. If that's not possible, can we take him to a hospice? They said no to both. He has to die in that hospital tomorrow.
They said they couldn't get transport to take us home, so we've offered to pay for that privately with a private team, and they said that that's not an option.
I'm sure you've read in the media that they've come out and they've said there's no rush. There's no rush to do all this. We're working closely with the family to arrange his end-of-life care.
We've literally begged them today to give us this weekend.
Some of our family and friends can't come. They can't come before tomorrow. So the last time they saw Charlie will be the last time they ever see him.
And he's still so stable. That's what's so hard. He's so stable.
You can probably see on our t-shirts, if he's still fighting, we're still fighting. And he's still fighting over there, believe me, he's still fighting. He's a little fighter, he's a little trooper, and he's a soldier. He will fight, he'd fight to the very end, and he's still fighting, but we're not allowed to fight for him anymore. Our parental rights have been stripped away. We can't even take our own son home to die. We've been denied that. Do you not think we've been put through enough?
Our final wish.
Our final wish, if it all went against us, and we've had this conversation many times, if we lose, can we take our little boy home to where he belongs to die, and we're not allowed?
The 4th of August 2016 was the best day of our lives. The day that Charlie was born. The 30th of the 6th, 2017 is going to be the worst day of our lives.
We know what day our son's going to die, and we don't even get to say what happens to him. He's got to die in that place.
Charlie will die in Great Ormond Street Hospital tomorrow. Thank you everyone for all your support.
Send your prayers to Charlie and his parents. It's outrageous. It's not right. It leaves me speechless every time I watch that video. And what's even sadder is there's YouTube and Twitter. There's social media comments of people saying how selfish these parents are. Oh, Charlie, you're abusing him. It's outrageous, and it shows where society's heart is. As a society values the right to die more than the right to live and fight, and that should disturb you to your core. The Vatican's response, coming up next. Again, I beg of you, please keep this family in your prayers. They need it. If you are a praying person, keep them in your prayers. This is the freestater. And this 4th of July, this Independence Day, be grateful for the freedoms that you have, that you still have. And don't you dare ever give them up.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
We do not have sponsors, and by we, I mean me. I don't have any sponsors. So I want to take this time to tell you about some projects that are always at the top of my list and in the back of my mind. They're fantastic projects. The NazareneFund.org. For several years, ISIS has invaded peaceful communities in the Middle East and painted the Nazarene symbol on the door of people they seek to convert, extort, or murder. While ISIS uses the Nazarene symbol to symbolize death, we use it to symbolize life. Mercury One is a U.S.-based humanitarian aid and education nonprofit organization that established and administers the Nazarene Fund. The Nazarene Fund aids in the restoration of Christians and other persecuted religious minorities in their communities who have been targeted by ISIS for their faith. I want to make it clear, I am not endorsed by Mercury One. They have not paid me to say any of this, and I'm not directly affiliated with them in any way. Be that as it may, I think that what they're doing is extremely important, and I want to share it with you. So rather than push a sponsor for you right now, in large part because I don't have one, I want to share their mission with you and direct you to where you can go to help. Now, in 2014, the Christian community in Syria and Iraq were facing the greatest calamity in its 2,000-year history. The Islamic State, ISIS, exploded out of Raqqa, Syria, the capital of its self-proclaimed Islamic State. In a lightning strike that surprised the world, ISIS forces captured Mosul, Iraq's second-largest city, and all of nearby Nineveh plain, the traditional homeland of the region's Christian community. What followed was a campaign of extortion, murder, and displacement not only of the Christians, but of other ethno-religious minorities in the region. By 2015, a population of 3 million people was reduced to only 300,000. Most of them displaced from their homes and fleeing to other countries. In August of that year, Glenn Beck took the stage, and the Restoring Unity rally in Birmingham, Alabama, declared the situation for it was genocide. Mercury One donors immediately responded, and the Nazarene Fund was launched with the goal of rescuing 400 families. No one at the time that realized that a movement was born, and over the course of the next 18 months, Mercury One has far exceeded its original goal, and the numbers speak for themselves. 1,290 families rescued, 5,202 people saved. Fortunately, the tactical situation is changing. Coalition forces have liberated most of Nineveh. Mosul will soon be under Allied control. An attack on Raqqa is imminent, and Mercury One is shifting its focus from rescuing to rebuilding and restoring the lives and communities of these persecuted people. We're so happy to shift this focus from providing immediate basic care for individuals to rebuilding and restoring communities by funding projects that will have a future impact on health and education for years to come. Mercury One funded projects include a medical clinic in Lebanon, a medical clinic in Greece, school in Beirut, Lebanon, a school in Athens, Greece, a mobile trauma center in Acre, Iraq, a trauma center in Al-Qush, Iraq, a community center in Nitra, Slovakia, and a transport van in Brazil. As their mission continues to evolve both internationally and at home, please continue to support all of Mercury One's efforts by donating now. To donate, go to mercuryone.org or thenazarenefund.org. It's a great cause. They need your help. If you're able to donate, I encourage you to donate. I encourage you to go. Again, thenazarenefund.org. We had an article on the Charlie Gard 10-month-old baby story published by Red State today. What is shocking to the conscience and the intellect in this Charlie Gard story is the response of the Catholic Church, which marks how far it slipped under the misguided and borderline heretical maladministration of the Pope Francis. This statement was issued by the Vatican's Pontifical Academy for Life. The matter of the English baby Charlie Gard and his parents has meant both pain and hope for all of us. We feel close to him, to his mother, his father, and all those who have cared for him and struggled together with him until now. For them and for those who are called to decide their future, we raise to the Lord of life our prayers, knowing that in the Lord our labor will not be in vain. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales issued a statement today that recognizes above all the complexity of the situation. It's not really, unquote for a second, it's not really that complex of a situation. Let's be perfectly clear about that. You have a right to life. You have a right to fight for your life and your children's life. It is their baby. Let's continue. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales issued a statement today that recognizes above all the complexity of the situation, even though it's not complex, the heart-rending pain of the parents and the efforts of so many to determine what is best for Charlie. Unquote again. Let's be perfectly clear about something. The only ones who get to decide what's best for their child are the child's parents. Not the government. Not the church. The parents. Let's continue. The bishop's statement also reaffirms that, quote, we should never act with the deliberate intention to end a human life, including the removal of nutrition and hydration, so that death might be achieved, but that, quote, we do sometimes, however, have to recognize the limitations of what can be done, while always acting humanely in the service of the sick person until the time of natural death occurs. The proper question to be raised in this and in any other unfortunately similar case is this: what are the best interests of the patient? Unquote again. Not anyone's say but the parents. We must do what advances the health of the patient. But we must also accept the limits of medicine and avoid aggressive medical procedures that are disproportionate to any expected results or excessively burdensome to the patient or the family. Likewise, the wishes of the parents must heard and be respected, but they too must be helped to understand the unique difficulty of their situation and not be left to face their painful decisions alone. Let's pause again. Maybe they want to face these painful decisions together. Them. Not with a court deciding it for them. Not with the church condoning the court deciding it for them. But as parents. Oh, but this is the 21st century. This is 2017, Ian. Get with the times. Parents. Such a old patriarchal setup, don't you think? It's really the state. It's really men in robes. The church that gets to decide who lives and who dies. If the relationship, they continue, between doctor and patient is interfered with, everything becomes more difficult and legal action becomes a last resort, with the accompanying risk of ideological or political manipulation, which is always to be avoided, or of media sensationalism, which can be sadly superficial. Oh my gosh. Want to quote exactly what this Red State writer has to say. This is a monument to doublespeak that would have George Orwell smiling. This was a chance for the church, the Catholic Church, to give a clear message on the sanctity of life and the importance of family, and the fact that we are God's children and not numbers in a government ledger or some bureaucrat spreadsheet, but under the leadership of the Pope. That would be too much to hope for under the leadership of Pope Francis. Michael B. Doherty hits this one right out of the park. Unquote. Here's what Michael B. Doherty had to say. There is so much wrong with this Vatican statement. It's difficult to know where to begin. He's speaking my language right here. If you don't know, Michael Doherty is the senior writer for the National Review. First, it is blind to what the church has always recognized as parents' authority over the states. And second, even if the experimental treatment in the U.S. is not obligatory, and it's not, that doesn't mean that following hospitals' wishes is. The whole thing is suffused with the patronizing, servile, therapeutic jargon, and is a distinguishing mark of the culture of death. Let's continue with the Red State article. The bald acceptance of the will of doctors as being superior to the will of parents flies in the face of Catholic theology and social teaching. The idea that parents can't be trusted to make the decision about whether a treatment is disproportionate is insulting, and as to burdensome, being left to die is rather burdensome as well. The argument used here could easily be used to support abortion or euthanasia. This is our Dred Scott, our Plessy versus Ferguson. This is a retreat from the culture of life that flowered under Pope St. John Paul II. It is to be expected. Under Pope Francis, the Church has begun to jettison those teachings of Christ which the worldly find to be, I'm just going to skip ahead a bit too weird. A bit weird. Again, for lack of a better term, screw the world. Let's continue. The Pope has muddied the waters on homosexual behavior to the point where there are many faithful Catholics who honestly believe he endorsed it. He's come within a hair of redefining the Christ-given sacrament of marriage, one man, one woman for life, into an acceptance of divorce and remarriage. It looks like reverence for life is just the latest casualty. It's incredibly sad. I don't care what a church has to say. I care about what the Word of God has to say. This is wrong. It's evil. And as Michael Doherty said, has all the marks of a culture of death. Welcome to the modern era, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the culture of death. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a pretty intense show today. I'm still outraged. I'm still angry. All you have to do is look at what's happening in our world, and you will see that despite all of the problems that we have in America right now, for some reason, God keeps blessing us. I can't attribute it to anything else. We still have the freedoms. For now. How much longer will we have them? This 4th of July, this Independence Day, hold your family close. Hold your wives close. Hold your husbands close. Hold your kids close. Your grandparents, your mom, your dad. Love on them. And as you're watching those fireworks explode in the sky, to the smell of hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill and the smell of a hot, nice apple pie with ice cream and whipped cream, remember that the reason you are able to enjoy that, the reason you're able to enjoy the fine tunes of I'm proud to be an American, and the reason you're able to enjoy the company of your neighbors, and the reason you're able to enjoy the right to free speech, the right to carrying a firearm, the rights listed in the Constitution, is because of the sacrifices brave men and women in our armed forces make day in and day out. It's because of the sacrifices our founders made. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it is because of God. Praise God. We are American. I want to share with you a clip from Budweiser. Adam Driver did an ad with them. It's beautiful. Adam Driver, this is from Rolling Stone. Adam Driver was probably the last person one military family expected to turn up on their doorstep. But he did, and he came home bearing great news to their corner of Pennsylvania. The Star Wars actor, who was a U.S. Marine following 9/11, presented Haley Grace Williams, a 21-year-old nursing student, with a scholarship, courtesy of Folds of Honor and Budweiser. It's a heartwarming video. And to be honest, we could use a feel-good video after hearing the tragedy of the Charlie Gard story. Please, please, please still keep Charlie and his family, his parents, in your prayers. Let's play the video.
Dear Folds of Honor, my name is Haley Grace Williams.
I am 21 and studying to be a nurse because I have a calling to help people. A calling inspired by my father. I don't need him. My everyday hero. Army veteran John Williams.
John, come on back.
Right before Desert Storm, my dad severely injured his back during a training exercise.
That maintains the integrity of the spaces.
His injury was so severe, today he has 2 steel rods and 6 screws fusing his spine together.
Now I'm driving a bus part-time to work whole 8 hours. I'm in too much pain.
Worse than the physical toll has been the emotional one. While his unit shipped off to war, my dad watched from a hospital room. To this day, he feels a sense of guilt. He feels as though he wasn't there for his buddies when they needed him. With our family's financial situation, the burden of paying for school is all on my shoulders. Right now, I'm working 40 hours a week to pay the final year, but at a cost of nearly $44,000, affording my final year simply may not be possible. Receiving your scholarship would change my life and set me up to change the lives of veterans like my father. I truly thank you for your consideration.
Sincerely, Haley Grace Williams.
So there he goes, walking up to
Hello?
the door. There he is.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Same here. Wait a minute.
Oh my gosh, you're Adam Driver. I'm in shock. I can't believe you're here.
Wait, is he with you?
Yeah, they sent me your letter. I was in the military, too.
Wow.
You were in the Army, right?
Yeah.
Right before Desert Storm, is that right? You injured yourself? Same, I was injured right before. I was supposed to deploy to Iraq with my unit. I felt so guilty that I didn't really get to finish my service.
Probably the first person that ever said, I understand. Truly understood.
And then now you're in school now.
Yes.
And that's when you reached out to Folds of Honor. Then they reached out to me, and they told me to let you know that you got the scholarship.
Oh my goodness.
But also, Budweiser and I thought that you shouldn't have to worry about school, so Budweiser is going to be covering your all remaining school expenses for the rest of next year.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Thank you. Your family's commitment to country is only matched by your commitment to each other. Your hard work, dedication, and caring spirit exemplify what Folds of Honor and Budweiser stand for. It means everything. I'm shaking, that's why I keep moving.
Thank you.
Okay, here I come. I can't help you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so, this Independence Day, when you're sitting out there looking up at the sky, watching red, white, and blue fireworks explode over your heads in celebration of our nation's independence, when you're surrounded by family and friends, when you're surrounded by delicious food, when you're surrounded by the sweet smell of apple pie, when you're surrounded by more freedom than you could ever imagine and that we all take for granted, know what so many go through to maintain that freedom, know what so many went through to maintain that freedom, know that that freedom, know it's a cliche, know that that freedom is not free, that you have to fight for it on a daily basis. Know that we're meant to love each other, even those we disagree with. We live in incredibly tense-filled, angry times. We live in a time where there is a huge divide separating so many Americans from each other. Let's be those who love each other. Let's be those who love those who hate us. As hard as it may be, it's our duty to do so. On this 4th of July, be somebody who loves and appreciates freedom. Be a freestater. Happy 4th of July. Thanks for listening. This is the Freestater. I'm Ian Ballinger on the Lanterns Radio Network. Encourage you to check out some of the other great shows that the Lanterns Radio Network has to offer. You've got Bells of Liberty, Todd Huff Radio, Battle for Freedom, Patriot Politics, Defenders of American Exceptionalism, The HoloNet, Fires of Liberty, Battlefield Live, The Conservative Syndicate, and many other special programs. You may have heard back during CPAC even, they did a huge live stream, continuous coverage of CPAC. Go to lanterns.buzz for great content. We're here to fix the machine. Lanterns.buzz.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.